But I would say the one thing we all have in common is probably a concern about the state of the world right now. It doesn't matter what we do for a living. I woke up probably 4 years ago, just before 2008, as things started to turn pear-shaped. And I thought it was a real wake-up call. I thought to myself, wow, I knew that something was going on, that certain interests were being served more than others, but I didn't realize to what extent. And then I saw Main Street being impacted. And then I saw my friends, and I saw my family. And then I'm a dad with 2 daughters, and I was like, oh my God, what sort of world am I going to leave for my kids? And then a non-profit leader said something really powerful to me. We're just having a by-the-by conversation. We're just chatting about something, and she goes, the one who sees the problem is the one with the responsibility of fixing it. Anyway. And I was like, what? And they said, the one who sees the problem is the one with the responsibility of fixing it. And I thought, here am I, a guy who's worked on big projects like the Olympics and World Cup and things like that, and here we have an opportunity with this new technology out there called social media that's connecting people in real time for free. So what could my skill set do? How could I bring that to bear on the solutions that we need to achieve in the world? And that's what every single one of us are doing in this room. Doesn't matter, in what capacity. And really, I started to struggle. I used to think, well, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Is this it? And it was then I read a speech that Bill Gates gave at the World Economic Forum in 2008, his creative capitalism speech. Do you guys all know what that is? Where he basically said government and philanthropy can't fix the world on their own. We need the private sector to get involved. And that doesn't seem like rocket science to me. Doesn't that seem obvious that this massive engine of capitalism, these consumers and brands changing billions of dollars each day, should be able to help the lives of others who aren't doing so well? It just seemed obvious to me. So I thought, I'm going to try and find more purpose for my life by making a contribution. Where I started was, what's the problem? What is the problem? Because it seems no matter what we do, things seem to get worse all around the world. And for me, it really came down to one issue, which is a me-first way of looking at the world. I mean, this is the question I was thinking about, like, how are we? How are you, world? And I was thinking, we're looking at the world through a me-first lens. So, if a me-first world is the problem, in my mind, we just needed to look at the world through the lens of, the collective, of the community, and come up with a we-first solution. And why would anybody care? Who here is with a for-profit brand, a big brand, whether it's a Coke or Frito-Lay or whatever? Why would you care? I'm from your world. I was trained as a lawyer, and I'm an ad guy. I'm everything you hate in other people. Why would you care? Well, this came out from Edelman earlier in the year, their 2011 Trust Barometer. Consumer trust in brands is a massive business problem right now. The United States, 3 years on from 2011, now is 5 points above Russia in terms of consumers trusting business to do the right thing. It's worse now than it was 3 years ago. So in terms of reputation management, in terms of customers wanting to buy your product and services as opposed to your competitor, this is a very, very real business problem. And really, when you think about it, here's the opportunity. This is the opportunity. Your customers, your donors, they want a better world. They don't just want better widgets. That's the opportunity for us. And if going back to Edelman, this is not wishful thinking. This is not projection on our part. This is not us making it up. 86% of global consumers want companies to put society's needs on the same level as their corporate needs, their fiduciary duty to their shareholders. Now, we can either see this as a threat in the business world, or we can see this as an opportunity. And this is a massive opportunity for those brands that wake up to it. And when you think about it, think about what's going on right now. Pepsi Refresh Project, Walmart Sustainability Index, Starbucks Shared Planet, Pampers, UNICEF and Pampers, Tide Loads for Hope. All of these big brands making socially responsible efforts. It's not just because it's well intended, it's because it's well received. It allows them to build community. It allows them to drive their bottom line. So this is the marketplace we're actually operating in now. So what I want to share with you in terms of the overarching thinking of a solve here to the larger problem of a sort of me-first mentality is 3 principles. The first of the 3 pillars is I think what you in this room have probably already experienced because you're here today. There's a new partnership between brands and consumers being built. You know, when I started writing this book, there was no Arab Spring revolution. There was no Pepsi Refresh project. The president hadn't been elected by connected citizens. None of this had happened. There was no WikiLeaks. And this has all come to pass, and it's only going to accelerate. And what is going to emerge is a new partnership between brands and consumers connected by social technology and aligned around shared values. I think we're now at the point where we're starting to see pathological short-term gains are really dumb in the long term. I think we're starting to see that because it's simply unsustainable. Brands cannot survive in societies that fail. The middle class is disappearing. Their customers are disappearing. So where's the logic in lining your pocket in the short term, meeting analyst projections, and then further increasing this disparity between the wealthy and the poor until there's no marketplace left? We've got to focus on sustainable business. I don't know if you ever have this experience in life, but don't you think that what you do is so self-evident that you feel silly sometimes explaining it because it makes sense? Why is sustainability a thing outside of business? Does anyone? I don't understand that. Like, I went and spoke down at Patagonia not long ago, and they don't understand what all of this sustainability stuff is. They're like, this is what we do. Why would you run a business in an unsustainable way? So, we've really just got to integrate it into our for-profit business model instead of saying it's something that exists outside of us and it's an add-on, like cause marketing. We do it after we've taken our product and had our negative impact. We've got to integrate it. We've got to inspire activism. A lot of people mischaracterize social activism as if it's sort of anti-American or it's anti-establishment. No, this is just standing up for what you care about. If you care about breast cancer, if you care about the environment, if you care about child mortality or water, clean water, the access to clean water, that's social activism. You're just putting your shoulder behind yourself and really, bringing that to life. You've got to collaborate with other companies. Whether it's Nike's Green Exchange, whether it's the companies behind the First Lady's Let's Move initiative, whether it's Patagonia's Sustainable Apparel Coalition, we are seeing dozens of examples of big companies going, this problem is larger than our own self-interest. We need to work together to solve this. What do we care about and what do we want from the brands that we're going to support with the dollars in our wallet? The second thing I wanted to talk about was contributory consumption. And as I mentioned, it builds on the wonderful work a lot of other companies have been doing. 1% for the planet goes towards the environment. Product Red went to HIV and AIDS. And, Social Vest goes to a number of different causes. But my attitude is we need to scale our response to the challenges we face. We are in so much trouble that we all need to work together on a massive scale to even having a chance of addressing some of these problems. And so my ambition is to get a small percentage of every product and service that's being sold out there contributing towards a cause that's in alignment with that brand's core value. So it reinforces the for-profit mentality of that company. So let's have a look at how that might look. Social Vibe. It's a wonderful platform that basically pays people for their attention. It says, consumer, if you look at my ad, we'll donate $1 to a cause that you're interested in. That's how much competition there is for consumers' attention out there right now, and that's how much brands are willing to pay to earn that attention. And then you've got a bunch of platforms like Groupon, Twitter, Foursquare, and Facebook. In the same way that a deal tips on Groupon, triggering a discount, why can't a deal tip and make a contribution to a cause? Why can't the number of people who check in on Foursquare or Facebook Places trigger a donation? Why can't the same be true of Facebook? We can not only send each other a cup of coffee through Starbucks, we can send each other a donation to a cause that someone cares about. So all of these technologies are available to you today to kind of repurpose in terms of your goals. This is what's so exciting to me. And here's why I hope I see it going. Imagine all the commercial transactions that are out there on a daily basis. You've got real world transactions in the shopping aisle when you're in at the mall. You've got credit card transactions, billions of them every single day. You've got mobile transactions with your phone. I mean, on the Android phone, you can already bump to buy, right? You can walk up to something and go, boom, and buy it. Imagine a wedding registry, right? You're just walking through, it's like doing this. And then you've got virtual goods in the gaming world, and you've got the online purchases. If you took all of those purchases on a daily basis across all those different platforms, and let's be realistic, let's say only 5% of companies out there said they're going to buy into this. 95% said, go to hell, we're going to look after ourselves. Only 5%. And let's say they were still, that 5% were wary, so they said only 1 cent on the dollar of every sale will go towards a cause. That's in alignment with our core values, not window dressing, in alignment with our core values that we can get PR from and so on. So we've got 5%, 1% of 5% contributing. Just as a function of the numbers that are out there, of transactions each day, we would absolutely dwarf the $14 billion raised by corporate foundations every year in a sustainable, integrated way. So that when we have the tsunami, and we have Pakistan floods, and we have the earthquake, and we have Joplin, one after another, and we're all suffering because of donor fatigue, and we've got a bad economy, so no one can afford to give anymore, we've actually got it built into the system that we actually have enough funds to address these things and the long-term problems. And then the third pillar that I want to talk about is the Global Brand Initiative. And simply put, this is a federation of brands that bring all their best practices to bear on social change. And that includes management, training, bricks and mortar resources, intellectual property, research and development, and yes, their money. And here's how it will work. So we've got all these consumer purchases, retail, credit cards, online, mobile, virtual goods, and gaming. We've then got participating brands and ad agencies who not only make that contribution, but then get the PR value of doing it and get the value through employee retention by letting them know what we stand for and all the benefits that come with that. They then put it through the Global Brand Initiative, which has a board of directors and it has a membership of leading funds that rotates out so there's no monopoly. You know, we want the best of the private sector, not the worst of the private sector to get involved. They then make contributions of all kinds, direct funding, technology, expertise, management, training and products that are then passed on to those who know how to do the work best, whether it's a government agency, whether it's an NGO, whether it's a non-profit, that address the key critical issues out there in the world today, that then in turn shores up the well-being of society, allowing us to make our consumer purchases. I almost feel like this very dynamic is going on in reverse right now, which is those at the top take more, those at the middle are compromised more, the ranks of the poor are growing, we can do less to help others, it's getting worse, and this whole process is working in an opposite direction. And we see the beginnings of this. There are many examples. I mentioned Patagonia's Sustainable Apparel Coalition. Patagonia is a wonderful company. They've been synonymous with transparency and environmental sustainability for years. But they want more than that, which is so inspiring. What they did was, it was about 5 months ago, 6 months ago now, they launched the Sustainable Apparel Coalition. So they said, competitors in the outdoor apparel industry, we want you to be held to the same sustainability index that we are. And all their competitors signed on. You can see a list of all the companies that have signed on here. And then they said, let's go bigger than that. Let's get Walmart. Let's get M&S. Let's get H&M in Europe. So they now have 30% of the global apparel making industry signed up to a single unified sustainability index in the period of like 12 to 18 months. 30% of the globe are saying we're going to be socially responsible and hold ourselves accountable to the same index. And the We First platform is not something I own, it exists in the collective. It is in this room here right now, in the sense that each one of us are doing a small part. The way I think of it is we've all got a little bit of the blanket of change because we can't do it on our own and we're just slowly moving it all forward, slowly together. But if we do it and we amplify this conversation, we can change the practice of capitalism as we know it because we have to. You are right now building the future of business. And you are changing people's lives. And if you continue to do this, I promise you, in a self-interested sense, you will find the greatest self-fulfillment that is possible, as opposed to looking for it in other areas of life that just simply won't be fulfilling. So, you know, I'm inspired by the fact that you're all here. I'm really excited to meet like-minded people, and I'm really excited about hearing what everyone else has to say today. So thank you very much.